Hey guys, it's Sid at svtperformance.com, and I am in Detroit for the 2019 North American International Auto Show. I'm here out in the main hallway of the Cobo Center. I'm going to take you through a little walkthrough through the show. I don't think that's something that you get to see all that often, so you're going to get to see it from the press perspective and what it takes to get in. It takes 2 separate passes. I've got a badge on underneath my jacket here and a wristband. So it's pretty tightly controlled. You can't just walk in off the street during press days. I'm going to take you through a little tour just so you can see what it's like in the show. And it's a little smaller than years past, and I'm going to shoot this guerrilla style. So I'm going to hold the camera and just walk it through because it's sort of packed in places and the lighting's not great. So this is just how we're going to have to do it. So stay tuned. I'm going to take you off the tripod and then we're going to go walk in. Okay, we're all packed up now and ready to go for a little walk around the show. I just wanted to give you a little shot outside of downtown Detroit. It is about 19 degrees and I do not want to be out there, so I'll stay inside for this. But that's a good shot of downtown. I first started coming to this show probably 10 years ago, and this was almost completely abandoned down here, and now there's a lot of business going on, so it's nice to see renovations. You can see this building over here is getting renovated. It's going to be like 170,000 square feet of office space. This massive tall building back here I think is still abandoned, but yeah, it's sort of a shitty cold day. So this is the main hallway through the Cobo Center. There's a few small displays up this way, a couple little kiosks, get some food and everything. The displays this way tend to be like manufacturers and suppliers. So you're going to see like representatives from the steel industry and some composites industries, things like that. No real auto manufacturers, it's sort of auto parts manufacturers because they're showing off for the executives and whatnot to come to the show. But this is the first thing we do, walk up. Hall H is where, or Hall A, sorry. Is where the Ford booth is. And we're going in, and I've got my credentials, so we're good to go. And see, one side we have GM here, the other side Ford. So guess where I would rather start? Of course, Ford's booth is a little bit smaller this year, I think, and it's very poorly lit for filming or for photographs, but we've got like 5 or 6 different Ford Rangers. I've seen them a few times before, but I like how this one's modified. It's got a little bit of a lift on it, new steel bumper, some BFGs, some Raptor style wheels, which look really good, and they're in sort of a greenish gold finish with black accents. I think that looks really good. You can see it's BDS suspension parts on it, so, and Fox Racing shocks. This sort of looks like a toned down version of the Ranger Raptor that's going to be available in export markets. And that's a Lariat. This thing gives a whole new meaning to the term truck bed. So good looking. We've got a ton of Rangers. Got another one in a cargo container. Another one on a lift here. So if you ever wanted to see underneath one of these things, again, like I said, it's sort of poorly lit. You can see the front differential. It's one of the style where it just like splits in half instead of a standard differential. So, and you got a fully boxed frame, 2-piece drive shaft with a carrier bearing. Interesting that it's only one big leaf spring, basically, in the pack with sort of an overload spring, and then you got aluminum brackets at the U-bolts for the springs bolt into. Just sort of an odd choice. Got a Dana style axle, but it's basically, you know, it's a truck. 10-speed auto. They're basically sticking that 10R80 and everything. And check out how from the transfer case to the front differential, the drive shaft is sort of, the front drive shaft is offset from the transfer case. So you have the CV joint on this end and one on this end to straighten everything out. And more Rangers. Got a Raptor back here. Always looks great. And they built like a rope course to send members of the press through. I've not gone through it because I get enough exercise and stress in my daily life. So we got Super Duties, more and more Super Duties. They've built this course back here where they're giving members of the press, and I imagine they'll do this for the public as well, rides in the new 2020 Explorer. Again, it's super dark, but this is sort of like a bank turn, and they've got a really steep, this is way steeper than it looks on camera. If one of these things would go through here, I could show you, but they're taking Explorers up this ramp. They give you like a set of VR, a VR headset to wear while you go on that ride, which I would rather just experience the ride than whatever virtual thing they have going on. You can see F-150s, and you got like see what it looks like and different colors and whatnot. Fun things to play with. I like that color, but I don't really like that grille. Yeah, that's a very nice metallic blue on this F-150. This is pretty neat. Got a F-150 frame turned up on its side. It has a 3.5 EcoBoost. And you can see that the engineer who decided to put the oil filter right here, so when you take it off, it leaks all over the steering rack, never decided, or was not the guy who was ever going to have to change the oil on this truck. Why can't they just put the oil filter hanging straight down off the bottom like God intended? Oh, then we have turbo. Got some kind of weird weight. I'm guessing it's to attenuate sound, noise, vibration, things like that. Got another one here on the transfer case. And 10-speed automatic. And I do like the big one-piece aluminum drive shaft on this particular model of F-150. I don't think they all get that. But we got, of course, the fully boxed frame that Ford used to brag about so much, and now everybody has it, so it's not that special. This one has the 9 3/4 inch rear end like a Gen 2 Lightning. So I'll show you something else that's sort of weird. 3.5 EcoBoost. You got good size diameter down pipes, mid pipes, and look where it necks down right here. You can't see it from the top side because of this heat shield. Right there, necks down from what looks like a 3-inch to like a 2.5 inch pipe going back. And then after it comes out of the muffler, it goes back up to 3-inch. So there's probably 2 horsepower to be gained by just changing out that exhaust. I think the actual downpipes and everything look pretty good. These cats don't really restrict that much, so there's no point in taking those off. But if I had one of these, I would definitely put a cat back on it. And we got the bottom of the 10R80. I like how it's got 10R. It's like stylized right there on it. Interestingly, the front axle on an F-150, I don't know if you know this or not, it's a 8.8 inch. So just like it was in the back of Mustangs forever until they went to the Super 8.8 on the S550. 3.5 EcoBoost, plastic oil pan. I hate these solid drain plugs. I like a metal one. More F-150s. This is sort of a neat one. It's done by, I think, the company Speedcore. Sort of has some Gen 3 Lightning concept cues on it, but this is the grille that I like on an F-150. I think that's the best looking one. So this thing looks pretty good. Hopefully this is sort of a harbinger for things to come, and they're going to pay more attention to the regular cab trucks, because that just looks good. That's something I'd be proud to drive. I like the big Brembo brakes. I probably would not have them cross-drilled because there's no real performance advantage there, and it's just something to crack. I like the vinyl in the bed and everything, but it's not practical. It's basically for looks, but it does look good. The carbon fiber applique on the tailgate, and I think having the tips stick out past the roll pan, the exhaust tips, is terrible. Not a styling choice I would make. So we've got some Transits. Transit Connect. I really like these little vans. There's a ton of space in them. If they made an ST version of this, I would probably buy one. And this one's got like a little cargo divider, so I don't know, you guys that have a lot of kids or something, you might want to just put them back in here That way they're separated from you and you don't have to deal with them. You can tell I don't have kids. And then the full-size Transit. This one looks like it's probably set up as like 15 passenger, or actually it's a bus. So it's handicap accessible. Moving on. We have scooters because Ford bought a scooter company. I thought they were building cars. You know, that's probably why it's taken the GT500 so long to come out. They've been working on the damn scooters. So, new Edge. No, not new Edge as in New Edge Mustang, but the new Edge, Ford Edge. More Edge. Popo. And Ford GT in the Heritage livery. That thing looks awesome. I especially like the brakes. Powder coated orange. And then you can see all the carbon fiber that goes into this car. Even just a little piece holding on the mirror. It's a fantastic, beautiful car. And it's driven by a Lego Stig. We got some Mustangs, RTR Mustang, shout out to Vaughn. And another Raptor. I do like it in silver. I wish they had brought a extended cab Raptor, because if I was buying one, that's what I would buy, is the extended cab. But the crew cab is nice. So yesterday we gave you the walkthrough of the GT500, but I did it for Lethal Performance. So that video is up on Lethal's YouTube channel, so check it out. I'll actually put a link in the description for that if you want to pick up on all those little details we put in that. But you can see most of the Ford booth was empty except for GT500. That's the thing that everybody is interested in, and we can't blame them. But let's sneak around the back side here. We've got a Mustang flipped up on its side. You guys have probably seen stuff like this at PRI and things like that. It's a GT, again, 10R80, plastic oil pan, IRS, standard fare stuff. You guys have probably seen all that. These are sort of neat, the EcoSport SUVs. It's basically a jacked up Fiesta. And then we have the Edge ST, which they have been putting all over TV. I see ads for it on YouTube all the time and everything. Ford spending a lot of marketing money on these. And I'm not super crazy about it. It's nice, but I do like the Explorer ST. I think that came out better. Just going from pictures of the Explorer, I thought it was okay, but seeing it in person, it's much, 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 much better in person. And the biggest thing I like about it is the front overhang is way, way shorter on the new one than the outgoing model. And I think that just gives it a more trucky, tougher look. So it's a really good looking car. The ST, of course, 3-liter EcoBoost with a 10R80. So having the 10R80 in it, you know what that means. You should be able to put a tune in this thing and pick up quite a bit of power. Again, this one's knob shifted. I don't think this is the top of the line model because this doesn't have the huge iPad size nav screen in the dash. But it does have the panoramic sunroof, ST logo on the seats. And this is where you can sign up to go for a ride in that Explorer. But yeah, I think this looks good. I would drive one of these. Now this is taking Cutaway to a whole new level. We got a 2020 Explorer that's basically surgically cut into many pieces, so you can see all the structural aluminum, magnesium in the dash. There's your 10R80, and this is a hybrid model. You can sort of make out the electric motor right there in front of the torque converter. They have one of these on the table. I'll show you in a minute. But again, we got the transfer case, so it is a, I guess, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. It's probably all-wheel drive. I very much doubt that this has low range. But you can see there's another mass damper. Then we've got this rubber flange on the drive shaft, just like you used to have on the GT500s. But it's nice to see rear drive back again on the Explorer. It just makes the driving dynamics so much better than having front-wheel drive based SUVs. I'm not sure what that rear end is, but I think it may be a Super 8.8. I'm not 100% sure. And you can see all the structure and stampings that go in to making one of these things. There's a lot that goes on. And I like the use of this foam material that's sandwiched in between these layers of steels to cut down on sound, making its way in from the wheel well into the cabin. So that's a nice touch. And then we've got the back panel cut away. You got a speaker. Then part of the HVAC system for the multi-zone heating and air. So let's go on back around. Another Explorer. I promised you. Oh, there it is. Here's the hybrid drive for the Explorer. It's right here. So if you've got the torque converter, this would be your input shaft, and then you've got the electric motor that's wound in here in front of the torque converter. So that's sort of a neat setup. Looks like 3 clutches on the torque converter. It's just interesting how they split this up. Some springs and your stator and all that good stuff. But that's how the hybrid system is going to work in the Explorer. And I guess that is the company who is making it. We got an Expedition and a NASCAR. I have to see if that's available in the Ford Racing catalog, or let me take that back, the Ford Performance Racing Parts catalog. But they do have a display sort of similar to what they have at PRI, just showing off a few of the parts for various vehicles, mostly Mustang. I actually have one of these handling packs for an S550 in a box that I need to install. If you guys would like to see us do a video on that, let me know. And here's the Roush Ford Performance Supercharger that you cannot buy from Ford Performance now. Go ahead, try to order one. They do not have them. And here's GT350. Yeah. Take a look inside. I do like the accents on the door panels here and the carbon fiber. This guy's going to be a dick and close the door so he can just enjoy it himself. Some detail on the hood pins. I just got shocked. That was nice. You can take this whole panel out and expose the blower and everything. I think the front end looks good. And if you see it in person, it looks a lot better than it does in pictures. So I'm going to disturb this guy's time and open up the passenger door. Like I mentioned, I do like this accent on the door panel, and it carries onto the console, and it's sort of the same styling we get all the way down the seat and everything. So it has the Cobra logo in the seat, of course. Looks like the GT350 style Recaros, which I think were a huge step up above the ones that were in the Boss 302 and the earlier GT500s. The interior is super nice, but it's just standard S550 that we've been seeing since 2015, with just some nicer touches like this added to the center console, and these little panels being padded and upholstered. So it's just an upgraded version, but it's nice. Shout out to George at MGW. I know he loves seeing that little rotary knob for the transmission. And you got a couple of gauges in the dash. Looks like oil pressure and oil temp. I'm sure boost pressure will be in the main cluster. This car actually has the carbon fiber track pack on it, so that gives you the rear seat delete, and I will try to get a video of that. That's what it looks like. So it's neat. It's basically the same one that was in the GT350R. So I'm hoping that'll be a standalone option. I think it'll be quite popular. And here's a shot of the very much not plastic flappy paddles for the gearbox. Moving on, There's the Tremec 7-speed DTC. You can see the shift forks here, actuator rods, sensor, massive plug, sensor, input shaft, clutches galore, and shift fork, gear. Plastic oil pan, another sensor. There's a lot going on with this thing, but it looks to be a really stout piece. I mean, these gears are very nicely sized, and your output flange, I don't know if this is going to carry over to production, but this thing is billet, and I'm pretty sure that's steel, so that should be pretty strong. Massive nut right there, and of course the engine. At my first glance, I thought the exhaust manifolds, or I guess at this point you can really call this a header because it is tubular, I thought these were basically the ones from the 11 to 14 Mustang GT, but they're not. If you remember correctly, the collectors were stamped steel on that car, and on this one they're obviously a casting. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head if this is the same collector as GT350, but if I had to guess, it's probably not, but it's probably still cast stainless steel, and my guess is that Watson Racing is still building these headers for Ford Performance. Yesterday in Lethal's video, again, links in the description if you guys want to check it out, I took a look at these valve covers, and I noticed basically from the oil fill cap that they're different than the regular Coyote ones. And I thought, you know, they were aluminum, and they're like, well, no, maybe they're plastic. They feel weird. But then when I was going through some pictures yesterday, I noticed this boss is tapped. And if this was plastic, there would be like a nut inserted in this, and that is tapped for a bolt. So these are definitely aluminum, magnesium, something like that, probably aluminum valve covers. So that's a nice upgrade. I do like the aluminum oil pan. Again, you've heard me say it, with a drain plug like God intended. Nice, I don't know, would you call this flywheel, flex plate? Sort of got characteristics of both. You got your 2650 supercharger, port fuel injection only, which I thought is interesting because I would have almost guaranteed this car was going to come with direct injection, but perhaps in a future upgraded version they'll bump up the compression and add the direct injection. Got your supercharger pulley here, very, very big throttle body, but I don't think there's going to be much room to upgrade the throttle body. As you can see, it dips down right here, so that's probably the biggest throttle body you're going to get on this thing. As far as pulley upgrades, it's got this weird snout on it, and this is like rubber filled here, so I'm guessing that's sort of a mass damper built into the supercharger pulley. But if you notice, it's mounted on a 4-bolt flange, so that's probably going to be the easiest way if you want to change a pulley, is get a whole drive assembly with a new pulley and everything on it. So we'll just have to see what the aftermarket comes up with. Look at this crowd. This is ridiculous. Yeah, that's what you deal with. But that's basically it. You know, this thing, it would have been nice if this was a cutaway engine, because then you would have been able to see the heat exchanger for the intercooler heat exchanger. Of course, the coolant flows through here, and then the air comes down this way, and the engine with the blower blowing up instead of down like we're used to. But that's basically it. I'll see if I can dig up some more info on it as time goes on, but we have a ton of detailed pictures, especially with like all the parts numbers. If anyone's interested in seeing detail like that, I have that on SVTP, links in the description. Check that out. I think Tobe is putting together some ridiculous analysis of all this stuff that I've sent him, so should be an interesting read if you want to really Melvin out on it. It has the GT350 style oil filter, canister style oil filter. I don't like that. I wish it was just a FL820S, but it is what it is. And check out this damper on this thing. Of course, you've got your inner belt for the supercharger and your outer belt for the accessory drive, but it's obviously it's a welded piece, so it's probably, you know, tell me what it is. It's not a mass dampener with with rubber built into it. It could be fluid. Who knows? But that's basically it. That's your 5.2 liter 2650 TVS supercharged Predator engine. And that's basically it for the Ford booth. So I'm going to probably go a whole lot quicker through the rest of the stuff because, it is what it is. This is SVT performance, not Jeep performance. But I wanted to give you guys a full walkthrough, so that's what we're going to do. We got a two-door Jeep Rubicon Wrangler. I do love myself some Jeeps, especially Jeeps that are Jeeps the way that Jeeps are meant to be. That means solid axles and a manual transmission. And you can still get that on a Wrangler. So I like that. If I'm going to buy a Jeep, it's probably going to be one of these. However, I was severely disheartened when Jeep went away from the inline six-cylinder to a V6, especially that first V6 out of a minivan. That thing was terrible. And, I had a Jeep Cherokee, put 200,000 miles on that thing. It had the 4-liter inline six, and it's basically indestructible. I just changed the oil every 3,000 miles with like Castrol GTX 10W30. You could open the oil cap on that thing, and it was just spotless inside. It's a fantastic engine, but now it's a four-cam, like 3-something liter V6. It's like peaky horsepower. It makes way more horsepower than the old 4-liter did, but it just doesn't have the balls down low. Gladiator pickup. This one's in Rubicon trim. Looks really good. I'm hoping they make an extended cab version of it, because this thing is pretty damn long. They've got this one that has the top off and the doors off, so it'll give you a good idea of what they're like inside. That is pretty decent leg room for a mid-size truck. And you got the mole straps so you can put your gun case and whatnot on there. I guess if you want to carry extra magazines for your AR, that's a pretty good setup. Automatic transmission, not a fan. If it's a Jeep, I want a manual. But I do like that they're keeping with the theme. You can strip this thing down, lower the windshield. I'd probably never do that, but it's nice that you can. And look, it comes with a proper set of wheels and tires. And of course, you got a nice bumper. So I like these. Gladiator I'm betting it'll sell really, really well. I just wish it was a little bit shorter, because that's almost the length of an F-150 extended cab. And to me, that's a little bit too big for a mid-size truck. But the new Ram is a 1500 Rebel. There's a gussied up one. What does it say? Truck of Texas. All right. Enjoy that truck, Texas. Here is the new Cummins 6.7 liter. I'm going to have a full article just on this engine on the site, because I like a Cummins diesel, and even though it's SVT performance, you're going to see a story on it. Talked to the Cummins engineers a lot about it. This is the first diesel in a pickup truck to have 1,000 pound-feet of torque, so that's cool. I think it's only 400 horsepower though, where the Power Stroke Ford is 450 horsepower. There's a lot of technology that's gone into this thing. They've changed quite a bit. It's funny, it's basically a brand new engine because it's new block, new head, crank, pistons, rods, turbo, injection pump, injectors. Pretty much everything is new, except for like maybe the valve cover. But it's still B-Series architecture, so it's neat. Like I said, I'll have a in-depth article about that in a couple days. I'm going to recover some from this show. And you can see they've got a Ram heavy-duty chassis here with no cab on it. Get another look at the Cummins. EGR cooler, need to get rid of that. Transmission, I have not looked up at their literature to see what transmission that is, because I'm not buying one, so I don't really care that much. But this is neat that Ram does this. You got an air tank and the air compressor, because this thing comes with load leveling air springs. I have a set of airbags on my F-350 that I, of course, installed aftermarket, but they make a huge difference when you're towing a heavy trailer, especially like a gooseneck. So this is a really nice setup. You've got a little sensor right here, right behind this rear tire. that's attached to the spring pack in the frame, and it can basically tell when the spring is compressed, and the more you compress it, the more air it will send to the bag to level it out. So that's nice. We got a big gooseneck ball, so I'm guessing that'll be an option. It might already be an option, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not buying a Ram, so I don't really keep up with them that much. Walk towards the back here. Challengers everywhere. This one, of course, SRT, Hellcat, wide body. Does not look bad. But it's funny how old these cars are. I mean, look at this Charger. They've been making these since what, like 2005? I don't know when they came out. Was it 2009? I'm not sure. But it's still basically the same damn car for a decade. We got another one. They got it set up as a video game, so if you're into gaming, you enjoy that car. Walk to the back here. They have their accessories division. And this thing is pretty nice. They actually fired this up the other day. It's loud as shit. So, loud as fun. Here's your supercharged 426 Hemi crate engine. Basically taking a page out of Ford's book and offering it with control pack, pedal, all that kind of stuff. Basically everything you need to bolt this into anything you want. I'm guessing this car has one. Sorry, excuse me. And here's another one. What's this one? The 6.2, so just a regular Hellcat engine. Here's a Ram with some Mopar stuff on it. Ram bar. Somebody make a Ram bar joke for me in the comment section. But they have wheels. They have trucky stuff, tow hooks. I guess if you want chrome tow hooks, they have those for you. If your interior is ugly as shit, they'll sell you some cat skins. Here's you some heads, cold air intakes, suspension, and more wheels from Mopar. I like these tubular steel doors on this Gladiator. All right, moving on. There's some more stuff in the Dodge booth. Cars. I'm wondering if that one's plum crazy purple. That's what they're calling that this year. This one's the color of asphalt. So you'll probably, if you're ever in Myrtle Beach during snowbird season, you'll see some old person driving around in this thing without the headlights on at 9 o'clock at night. Here is the Fiat Miata 126, 124, I don't know what they call it, but yeah, it's basically like a Miata if you added a turbo and then made it really heavy. Durangos, vans, poor promo model having to show off a minivan. She looks sad. So, here's something that they're not really advertising. The show is way smaller this year. There's no really European makes. No BMW, no Mercedes, Land Rover, Jaguar. None of them showed up to the show. So they had all this empty space where these displayers would normally be. So they filled it up with just random modified cars. Not really a good look, I don't think. And there's like a food court back here. I don't know why anybody would pay for food during press days, because all the manufacturers give free shit away. So had mini sandwiches yesterday. They were decent. They were free, so the price was right. But I imagine this will be fairly busy. Look at that guy. He paid for whatever shitty convention food that is. But I imagine this will be busy during the public days. You know, it's just random cars with stickers. So, all right. Hyundai's here, so I'm not even going to waste my time walking through the Hyundai booth because we're probably not going to buy one of those. They want you to play football, so that's cool. I guess they're sponsoring somebody at the NFL. Hyundai, you know, the official warranty of the NFL. Okay, going on. This is the Kia booth. Kia has one car, and you can't see it unless you go for that ride in it, the Telluride. It's their new version of the Toyota 4Runner. It's the best way I can put it. It's basically what it looks like. They don't have one sitting out anywhere, and I'm not sitting in that line, even though there's not really a line. I just don't want to walk through all these ropes to go for a ride in an SUV around a little course with a video screen behind me. No. It does smell good because these are actually live little evergreen plants. Yeah, they built a little dirt track in this place. It'd be cool if you could get one of those KTMs out of the back of that Jeep Gladiator over there. They won't let you have that much fun. Got a manufacturer here, AISN, however you want to pronounce it. I had one of those in my Jeep Cherokee, their AW4 transmission. It was really good. I overheated the shit out of it and it still worked. So they make the good 6-speed that comes in the Ram now behind the highest horsepower Cummins. If you don't get that in a 3500, then you're stuck with the Chrysler transmission, and may God have mercy on your soul. So we got the Toyota booth. You got just plain vanilla Toyota cars forever down through here. The Tundra that they haven't done shit with in 5 years. It's basically the same. Only reason anybody's coming to the Toyota booth is for the Supra. So I was never really a huge Supra fan to begin with. Didn't get into the Fast and Furious movies. Just never really meant much to me. And yeah, sort of the same feeling about this car. I'm not crazy about the styling. You know, it's like you're driving around in a bubble. It's too round. The one thing I do like, it does look like they ripped off the old Shelby Daytona with this styling line with the roof and then coming over the fender here, you know, the Daytona prototypes. So that's not a bad line. The rest of it, I'm not crazy about, especially that front end. The good thing is the way it's made, you can probably easily swap out the fascia to something that looks better. So, but I'm not buying one, so not marking it towards me. This one looks like a marshmallow. And they're racy versions of it. Then we get over to Nissan with the Titan. This one has the 5-liter Cummins in it. These trucks are okay. I say that they are okay. The interiors are not terrible, but they do look dated, even though it's a brand new truck. And I don't really like the front end. So I guess I can just give you my spiel now on why I don't think this truck makes any sense. So I'll just stand here and we'll talk about it for a second. The reason the Titan XD with the Cummins engine makes no sense is it's as expensive as a 3/4 ton truck. It gets the same mileage as a 3/4 ton like diesel Ford, GMC or something like that when towing, and it's really not even that great when it's not towing. Costs as much, uses as much fuel, but it has like the towing capacity of a max towing package F-150. Granted, even those numbers on paper don't mean a whole lot, because I'm sure this truck being heavier, it actually feels better towing than a max tow package F-150, because it probably weighs like 1,000 pounds more. But at that point, why don't you just buy an F-250 or 350 or something? I don't know. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Moving on. This is a Nissan booth. I'm going to have one of these TVs installed in my house at some point. Actually, I'll probably have to build a new house just to get that in. You can build your house around one of these TVs. That'd be nice. And look, it's split, one on sort of each side, so you can have his and hers. I like this color. I don't know what it's called. I will call it metallic orange. But it looks good. It looks so nice they put two identical ones next to each other. Identical colors, two different models. But that's odd. You don't really usually see manufacturers do that, because they sort of blend together, and then you're left trying to figure out what the differences are, and you get confused because you haven't had a beer yet today and it's hot in here. Moving on, this is Buick. Buick has cars for your grandpa. That's pretty much it. They try to act like they don't, but that's what they have. Yep. Grandma's gonna love her new whatever the hell that thing is, Aventa. I don't know. Look at this thing. It's a bubble car. Lincoln. I don't feel like I'm dressed well enough for this. Even though I'm dressed fine, but you know, Lincoln's gotten kind of hoity-toity with their stuff. But I'll go down through here. We got Navigator, Nautilus. Nautilus is the Lincoln version of the Ford Edge. Lincoln, I'm not sure what they're calling this thing now. This is the Ford Escape Lincoln version. I think it's the MKC still yet. They're finally getting rid of all those stupid MK whatever designations, which I've begged them to for years, because nobody knows what any of this stuff is. You say MKS, MKZ, MKT, MKR, whatever. It's called a Continental. You got a Continental, that's what it is. You got an Aviator. This thing's really nice. So this, of course, is a Lincoln version of the Explorer, but it's not just an Explorer. They did a lot to this thing, and it is super, super nice. Let me get around to the interior here, and you'll see it's almost like a King Ranch style leather inside this thing, and all the materials are just light years better than the Ford version. Yeah, if you've got the money to spend on a midsize SUV, Aviator's a good choice. I would go for that. Here's the, so this one's MKZ. So, in other words, Lincoln Fusion. And Continental. Proper name. These are really nice cars. A couple of my neighbors have these, and I like them. It drives really nice, a lot of technology in it. I wish it was rear-wheel drive instead of front-wheel drive. But this is the coach door version. We call it coach door because suicide doors are not PC anymore. But that's basically it. They just reverse the hinges on it. But it's a neat gimmick. What I really want to do is take you around and show you some of my favorite features on the Navigator that really makes it an upscale choice versus just the standard. Man, get cut off here.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
It makes it a very nice upscale choice instead of an Expedition. You can see they've got all this stuff under glass. I think somebody watched the movie The Birdcage and took it the wrong way because they built this massive enclosure to keep this Navigator inside. Well, let's go check this one out. A lot of people don't like these wheels. I do like them. I just don't know how I have to clean them because brake dust is going to get all over that thing. So let's check out some of the interior stuff that I think really sets this apart. Again, it's a huge, huge upgrade over the Expedition, which it's based off of. You know, really, really nice dash. Of course, super, super nice leather. And all this leather is way better quality than anything that's in any run-of-the-mill Ford. We got very, very subtle bump out grips on the steering wheel. I think that's a nice touch. And just all around better materials. But here's something I noticed they did that I don't think really very many customers would notice, but I think it's a really nice touch that shows that they're thinking about quality everywhere they can put it. So obviously the door panel is really nice. All this material, everything that you would touch, except of course for a speaker grill and these trim pieces, it's a nice soft touch vinyl material. And that shit's expensive, but it's very nice and it gives it a real luxury feel. But they go one step further. If you reach your hand into the backside here of these little pockets, this has sort of a, I don't know, an Elmo Muppet fur lining on the backside of it. So it's carpeted on the backside where you'll never see this. You'll never see what that looks like on the inside there, but you can feel it. And that's a really great touch, I think, that just adds quality where nobody would look for it. So hopefully if they're doing small touches like that, all of the big things are executed properly as well. So yeah, I really like the new Navigator. Like I said, everything's much, much better quality. It's not just a badge on an Expedition anymore. I like it. I like that blue too. It's a very pretty blue, non-metallic. Okay, moving on. We have Lexus over here. Lexus didn't really have anything new this year, I don't believe. They've got like a LC convertible concept. None of you guys are buying that, so I'm not even walking over there. We got this new, I call this like the Galaxy Quest grill. I don't know why I call it that, but it looks like something out of a science fiction movie. Either that or it's like an electric razor. I guess you could call it that, electric razor grill. It's taken to the extreme on this model with carbon fiber and everything. That thing looks pretty good. Not bad. Then we got a few manufacturers back here. ZF used to make my favorite Super Duty transmission, the ZF6650 manual. Got the Hyundai Genesis, or actually they don't like you to call it the Hyundai Genesis, it's just Genesis now. Denso has a bar, so I might partake in that later. A lot of VR stuff. That seems to be the hot ticket that everybody is doing this year, is all this VR headset experience. I don't really like that because I think it's taking things the wrong way. Hey, look, I found the Kia booth. So they actually do have a booth. So we'll take a look at this in just a second. But now I want to rant a minute on the VR thing. I don't like that the auto manufacturers are focusing so much on all this VR experience instead of actual tactile experience of driving the car. That's why we're losing manual transmissions. That's why we have fly-by-wire, all that. I like a car to have a visceral, raw feeling, especially if it's a toy like a Mustang. To me, the pinnacle of that was 0304 Cobra because it had barely functioning traction control and not much else. It's just a raw, visceral experience. And while I'm sure the new GT500 will be ridiculously fast and outperform any previous high-performance Ford Mustang, I'll be very interested to see if they've been able to tune in, because they've been tuning out for so many years, just the driving dynamics to make it feel like it wants to kill you. Because I like that. I like to feel like that my cars want to kill me. So this is a Telluride Kia. This is their new SUV they're really proud of. I don't think the normal version is going to come with leather hood straps. That's a weird front end on this Soul. I guess that's a Kia Soul. I don't know. I don't keep up with Kias. But that's, looks like it's plug-in. I'm going to piss off the environmentalists, buy one of these, and then power it with a diesel generator to charge it up. I got a funny story to tell you about that. So I was by the Cummins booth earlier, just talking to them about the new X7 that's in the Ram trucks. Just all the features that it has. They said that this race team that's racing in a green racing series where they just race battery-powered cars was wanting to talk to somebody at Cummins about owning generators. He's like, really? What's your interest in owning generators? They're like, oh, well, we need a way to charge the cars. Really? So for your green racing series where you're driving battery-powered cars, you're going to charge the batteries with a diesel generator. That makes sense. No, we have Infiniti. I'll just walk through here. Infiniti's fine. Nothing I'm super interested in. This is the back side of the Lincoln booth, of course. That's a decent looking coupe, at least from the side profile. Let's see what the front looks like. Yeah, not bad. Then we have Cadillac. Hey, look, Cadillac brought a proper car to this show. A 59. That's a car. That thing is just steel on top of steel. Guy better not put his cup down on it. All right. So, we got CTS coupe. I'm glad to see they're still keeping that. I think it's lost the manual though. So that's definitely not a manual. I'm not sure you can get one in a manual anymore. And they have this new big car. It's nice to see big American cars again. It's like a proper executive car, the CT6V. See if this guy can open the hood. Hey, look. Here we got twin throttle bodies. That's nice. Intercoolers. There we go. It's the twin turbo 4.2 liter. Not bad. That's a lot of engine crammed in under there. As big as that car is, that thing looks like it's just wedged in. So here's the actual engine. Timing chains. You got the turbos in the valley because why? It's a hot V setup. That's right. They have the exhaust exiting into the valley through the turbochargers. Turbochargers go through the intercoolers, and then intake manifolds are where the exhaust manifolds should be. Direct injected, of course. It's nice. 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. 550 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque with 9.8 to 1 compression. It says this thing will do 200 miles an hour. That'll get you to your next corporate raid in a hurry. And we got a race car. And a race car engine. And some spinny rotors on their supercharged LT4 engine, and another ATS-V engine. So, continuing on. This video is going longer than I had intended. I hope it's at least somewhat entertaining. We got the Volkswagen booth showing off Tiguan and Atlas. I cannot believe how expensive that Atlas is, and it's just a V6, and not even like a powerful V6. That's interesting. This car probably is getting more attention than anything else that Volkswagen bought. 64 Beetle. Look, that guy's interested. You can just look at him and tell that he would like that car. Got another couple Beetles. Of course, they would build a soccer field. They're Germans. They don't know what proper football is. We have a wagon for your lesbian neighbors. I like that they're putting some better colors on these. So we got orange Jetta, very, very green Golf, and then they stole this blue from Focus RS. New SUV from Cadillac. I like that front end. I actually like the front end of this one, and I like the interior of the Chevy Trailblazer, which we'll come up on in a little bit here. Michelin has tires. There's the Michelin man. He's not waving at me, he's waving at that guy. Hey, Michelin man. And we have Honda. Honda selling accessories. Is that a blender? No, it's just my thirst for alcohol makes me think that's a blender, and I wish it was full of margaritas, but it's a lot. Okay, moving on. That guy has a better camera than me. Vans. I don't know if anybody likes Vans. I kind of like Vans. It's sort of a weird thing. That's why I like that Transit Connect van. As far as minivans go, I think Honda has the best one. I like the Odyssey. Would I buy one? Probably not. But if you're actually going to haul kids and stuff around, I like the Honda Odyssey. We have Acura. Acura has the NSX is probably what you'd be interested in. Look at this grill. It looks like you're going into Warp from Star Trek. NSX is cool. It's a great looking car. That looks like a proper performance car. Low to the ground, with the right proportions. I mean, for its performance, it's not terribly priced. It's $150-something thousand, but it's decently fast, super high quality. What I would have preferred them to do is sell it for $125,000 and offer it with a manual transmission instead of the 9-speed DTC, and take out the battery pack and the 3 electric motors and the 200 pounds that adds, and then sell it for that price. But I don't think I am their core demographic. So let's just make a lap around GMC, the GM booths basically. We have GMC, showing off the new, what the fuck they call those trucks? Sierras, yeah. It's been a long day. So the new Sierra, they sort of stole this little design cue right here into the headlights from Ford. I don't really like the front end of the new Sierra. I think the Sierra used to be way better looking than the Silverado, but I actually like the new half-ton Silverados better than the Sierra. This lady is showing off the truck bed inside your truck bed. Well, I mean, sorry, the tailgate inside the tailgate. So if GM has this new tailgate step thing after running ads making fun of Ford's tailgate step. They decided we're going to do our own, but we're going to make it super complicated, so in 5 years it'll probably rust and break. So it, like, the whole tailgate is like a transformer. It just flops open in some complicated fashion. The best way I describe this thing, it looks like a bench, so you'll have a place to sit while you're waiting for the tow truck. And they put the handle in the bed so it takes up space. Not the smartest design, but they're proud of it. I'll check this one out. This is nice. It's got a kicker sound system built into it, so you can have a tailgate party out of your tailgate. That's neat, but that's just something that's going to tear up as soon as it gets wet. Okay, moving on. We have the Denali, what do they call this, Canyon? Yeah, the GMC Colorado. Yeah, it's the Canyon, but it's a Chevy Colorado. GMC version of it. The Denali looks pretty good. It's overpriced. That's the moral of the story. Here's a 6.6 liter Duramax. The newest version, they have a version of it over in the Chevy booth. I'll show you that one. GMC Acadia, that's been out for a while. Yukon has been the same for quite a few years. Here's some more of those just random cars they stuck in here. You can see we're back to the Ford booth. So we're running out of stuff to show you. I'm waiting for them to put this in the showroom floor, on the showroom floor. Vail Sports Experience. Everybody loves them some tracks. So this is the new Chevy truck. It's going to compete with the F650, 750 medium duties. This is actually made by International. So it's like a collaboration between Chevrolet and International. It's the old style Chevy cab from the previous generation heavy duty trucks. You can see it's got a tip up hood. There's your DEF fill, because I think this is Duramax only at this point. Check out that. It looks like it's got a snow shovel for an exhaust. Yeah, so maybe it's an ice scraper. You can take it off and scrape your windshield if you're up here in Detroit. But yeah, they're going to take on Ford in the medium duty category. When they had the Kodiak and Top Kick a few years ago, that didn't go so well for them, but they're going to try again. Here's the new Silverado. Some people love this look, some people hate it. I'm okay with it. I think it looks better than that one. Yeah. Especially with like the black front end, I think that one looks pretty good. Then we have Colorados. Been the same for the last few years. I do like you can still get this with a manual transmission. But I don't think you can get it with the manual transmission and this 2.8 liter. They call it a Duramax diesel. We'll let you in on something. This is actually made by VM Motari in Italy. This is the same basic engine that was in the, I think, 05 model Jeep Liberties. It was in there for like 2 years. And if you could point out the one thing that I don't like about this, just right off the bat, you win a cookie. Did you guess it already? The timing belt. Why would you build a diesel engine with a timing belt? Why? Ugh. And again, cartridge style oil filter. Don't like that either. But this is a stout little engine. Check out the rods on this thing. Kind of tough to see. Like I said, this show is very poorly lit. But nice rods. The wrist pins are beefy. They're like a tapered design. Pistons are nicely made, and you've got an oil cooling galley running through it. And there's not a very severe lip right here. So you should be able to crank this thing up a little bit and make a little bit of power without worrying about pistons cracking or anything. But that's basically it. Why would you put a timing belt on this? Makes no sense. And you got your EGR cooler, so that can break and fill your back cylinders full of antifreeze and then wipe out your motor. Oh, you can tell I've been around 6-liter Power Strokes too long. So yeah, so here's the Silverado with the blacked up front. I don't know, I think it's okay. It's not bad. The interior, it's not as good as a Ford or Dodge. Sorry, it's just not. What else do we have? I know there is a Duramax engine I can show you here somewhere. I saw it just a little bit ago. 1.6 liter turbo diesel. I'm guessing that's for cars. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't think.
More Chevys. Well, let's just walk on around here. Have to give Chevy credit. They do have coffee in their booth. Okay, here's the Trailblazer. I actually think this looks good. I like this. As far as a medium-sized SUV, I like it. Front end's not bad. I like the side profile. And the interior, honestly, it looks like they stole it from Jeep and then did it a little bit better. I like these round HVAC ports. Console doesn't look bad. And got hard plastic here, but soft touches in other places. This is hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic. And of course it's GM, so it's hard plastic, and it's sort of cheapish hard plastic. Like that feels really cheap. But it's not terrible. I like the look of it. I don't think I'd buy one, but I do like the look of it. I thought it was called Trailblazer. They're just calling it Blazer. I don't know. It's hard to keep up with this. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Hey, would you like to experience what driving our cars are like? Here, sit in this lounge chair and let me put this thing on your head. GM's probably giving everybody lice. Now, on through. Enough Corvettes. That Tahoe doesn't look terrible, but I think it's due for a refresh. And they brought the highlighter yellow Camaro. You put that thing in a parking lot somewhere, you're not going to lose it. And we have Corvette, ZR1 Corvette, I think. And we have the LT5 ZR1 Corvette engine. So you got your nice Eaton supercharger, nice big piston. Look at this. I found the problem with GM piston slat. Yeah, they should have put rings on that. But you can see, check out the size of that intake port. GM does cylinder heads one nicely. Nice big cylinder heads that flow very good numbers, but you do not have that twin independent variable cam timing like you have on a Coyote. So you can make these drain pipe sized intake ports, but at low speed you're relying just solely on displacement to help fill the cylinders instead of your cam timing and the your intake manifold little flappy paddles, they're escaping me, charge motion control valves, and having those cut down a little bit and just increase the velocity through the port. You don't have that on a lot of the LSLT engines. I promised you a Duramax engine before I quit here. I think it's in the back. Walk past, not this Duramax, not the timing belt Duramax. I'm going to show you something crazy. Here it is. The newest Duramax, 445 horsepower, 910 torque. What does it say? 16-to-1 compression. Look at this intake. It's like something a Swedish guy would blow into, like a ram's horn or something, to call his children to dinner. Got an EGR setup, and I'll show you one thing that GM did right. They put the EGR valve right down here on the exhaust manifold where there's all this heat, and that will keep this thing from getting gummed up. That's a good design. If you're going to run EGR, you want it as close to the exhaust heat as possible so it doesn't get like gummed up with deposits. While the exhaust is hot, you don't really have that problem. It's when you put it on the cold side of the EGR coolers when you get a problem. But they did that one right. You got a double-walled downpipe, but look at this. They mounted the catalytic converter directly to the turbocharger. I mean, this thing is bolted right to the back of the turbo. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but man, I would imagine drive pressure right here is pretty crazy. But that's it. That's your Duramax. Again, they do a nice job with the bowls on these pistons. They're not really sharp, so they're not that prone to cracking. And I like this cast rocker arm. Duramax is a decent engine. But the funny thing is, now that Cummins has updated their block, this is the only gray iron heavy-duty diesel block still yet out there. And look at the rod size on this. This is way smaller than, like, say, the Cummins, and I'm pretty sure even Power Stroke now has beefier rods than Duramax. But Duramax still has a lot of good features for it. It's been a popular engine. So that's pretty much it. That's the 2019 North American International Auto Show from Detroit. I will leave you with the Ford booth. We'll take one more look again. The only thing that's getting a lot of attention is the GT500, so I guess that's a good thing. Probably not if you're worried about ADM from the dealer. I'm thinking the center Cobra is going to grow on people. Mr. Snap-on decided to get him a shot here. And he's just going to stand there and look at the car. We'll go around him. But yeah, looks good. Like I said, I have a ton more pictures on svtperformance.com in our full coverage of the auto show. The link is in the description. So yeah, click that, check it out. We dive into a lot of the technical details on the car that I just can't go through in this video. It's just too much right now. I've been here for 2 days. And if you want to watch a video about the things, check out that link that's in the description to the video I shot yesterday for Lethal Performance. Jared and the guys reached out to me, and they just sort of wanted the lethal customer perspective on the GT500. So that's the way we looked at it. You know, what upgrades do I see as a possibility for this car in the near future, and what do I think is going to be capable, that it's going to be capable of. So check that out in the description, and that's pretty much it from the North American International Auto Show here in Detroit. This is Sid from svtperformance.com, and that is a Heritage Edition Ford GT. I like it.